This episode may contain moderately strong language and themes.
I'm Emma Clarke, a professional voiceover. Welcome to Dodgy Voiceover Direction, the podcast that wonders at the dodgy voiceover direction I receive from much-loved clients, or my clients get from their clients to pass on to me, or my clients get from their clients who get it from their clients. Anyway, this podcast is about dodgy voiceover direction.
Welcome to Dodgy Voiceover Direction with Emma Clarke.
It was a day deep in a northern winter. It was cold and the sky was leaden. The low, pale sun was diffuse and opaque, obscured by a thick grey blanket of Manchester cloud. To be honest, it felt like being stuck inside a Tupperware container in the back of a manky student fridge. I'd been working hard that day. I'd been asked to read the entire contents of a telecommunications company's service engineer handbook, so I was eager for a diversion. In between editing bits of audio of me talking about multi-protocol label switching and local loop unbundling, I was checking my email in case somebody wanted me to break the monotony and do an amusing character voice, like being a potato in the style of Dawn French, for instance, or maybe Barbara Windsor as a cupcake. I've even been asked to be Johnny Vegas as a depressed kitchen cupboard wanting a new door, so these weren't unrealistic hopes. But anyway, no such email arrived. Instead, however, I received a message from a correspondent who preferred using a nickname for himself, which is always a red flag. I mean, it wouldn't sit well if you were commissioned to read high security alerts for an overseas surveillance equipment company by a man who wants to be known as Donkey Dave, would it? Just as an example. You just wouldn't take it seriously. Anyway, the message in question was a question. This is what it said.
Dear Emma Clarke, can you send me some audio of you moaning for personal use only?
I get a lot of requests from people wanting me to read erotic fiction and pornographic material. I know that won't surprise you because I'm obviously a very sexy woman and people pick up on that. Mostly, these are from authors of mucky books and people who make adult films who might want some dubbing doing. These kind of requests are from people with email addresses from a domain you can check out, who are writing to you from a legitimate commercial enterprise. This, however, was from a Hotmail address, from a man who wanted to be known as Posh Henry. And he wanted me to moan for him. For a moment, I wondered if it might be the Duke of Sussex being coy, but I dismissed that thought as mere fancy. I mean, it couldn't be. Could it? But anyway, moaning. He wanted me to record myself moaning. I was tempted to say, yes, of course, Posh Henry, here's a sample. Oh, couldn't you put the bins out? Will you move that drill off the kitchen worktop? Why haven't you done the gutters like you said you would, you selfish sad sack? But I don't think that's the kind of moaning he wanted me to do. I almost considered sending him audio of me pretending to be a ghost. Ooh. But again, I didn't think that's what he was after. No, it was obvious. This man wanted audio sex. And listener, I wasn't the woman to give it to him, even if he was posh. The personal use bit was an eyebrow raiser. The majority of projects I work on are intended for an audience, so it's unusual to be asked to voice something professionally for the sole use of one person. Listener, I think we can imagine how he was intending to use it, can't we? And I don't think it's the kind of audio he'd want to be seen to be appreciating by a crowd. Unless I've misread the situation and he's actually a big cheese in dogging circles. I replied, "No, Posh Henry, I can't moan for you. I could read you an instruction manual for a Hewlett-Packard Office Jet Pro in the style of Julie Andrews if you like, but moaning audio sex, no. There's a lot more I could have said, but I had a lot of material to read about ring indicators, so I had to be brief. I hit send, sighed wearily, then headed back to the studio to talk about sip trunks out loud for money.
You've been listening to Dodgy Voiceover Direction with Emma Clarke. Rate the show, write us a review, and tell your friends. Thanks for listening.
That's it for this episode of Dodgy Voiceover Direction. Find out more about me and my work at emmaclarke.com. There's an E on the end of Clark, by the way. Listen to my stuff, read my blog, and if you want to know more, sign up for my newsletter. If you enjoyed this show, give us a rating, hopefully a good one, and leave a review, and tell your mates. If you find me endlessly fascinating, unlikely I know, but a girl can hope, you can check out the music I write. You see, I'm also a classical composer. And the music podcasts I make, Before the Bar Opens and the title track. All my music stuff is at ebclarke.com. See you next time on Dodgy Voiceover Direction.